Well, hi everyone, and welcome to this little member spotlight that we're doing today, and with the Higher Deep Collective. And look, you know what we're about. We're about empowering, encouraging, helping leaders to be honest, to be open, and to share the journey together, so that they don't have to do it alone. And we love to be honest and open and transparent as we come. And today we're going to just lift the hood on leadership with Jackie Roux. And so, Jackie, welcome today. I'm so delighted that you've taken some time out of your busy schedule just to drop by and have a chat with me about your leadership. And so welcome, Jackie.
Thank you, Sue. I feel very privileged to be here, and thank you for asking me to do this. It's always good to have a conversation about these sorts of things, and as you said, keeping it real. So I really appreciate that about your sessions. It's been really refreshing. So thank you.
Yeah, I do love honesty. I do love actually transparency, because that's actually when we jump into that vulnerable space, that's when we learn and grow and can really tackle some of the challenges and move forward into that space of transformation. So, Jackie, tell us a little bit about what you do. You're a leadership coach and a DISC consultant, but you actually do so much more than that. Can you tell us a little bit about your leadership journey and what you're doing currently?
I love that. And leadership for me has been a passion probably for the last 20 plus years, because I was mentored by a fantastic leader. And I learned about the power of leadership, and that leadership is actually rather going addition. So 1 + 1 + 1, leadership is actually a multiplication space, because when we work with individuals who have a leadership calling, we amplify the impact and the influence. And when I learned about the power of good leadership and healthy leadership, and a leadership where we're serving others, we're adding value to others, it just transformed my life. And I knew I wanted to pay it forward, and invested a lot into my leadership upskilling. Become a John Maxwell coach, and I do use his his DISC method. I find it's really super powerful. But at the end of the day, it is about, as I said, paying it forward, because my life was so transformed when I went through this leadership program. So that journey has brought me to this point. Now, one of the other hats that I wear is I work with the training organization, and we help people with training and employment pathways, especially in the care and community space, but we also do leadership and management. So I find that very fulfilling, because I think, as I said, you've seen what I've been talking about with my leadership, how it's transformed my life. I believe education really empowers people to have a really significant trajectory, if you like, living that life of significance in an area that perhaps is their calling, where they can add value and make a difference in the world. So,
I love that. And I love your passion for helping just to bring other people up in leadership. And we've had some great conversations. And on Tuesdays, my Tuesday 10 o'clock Ask Me Anything, that's part of the Higher Deeper Collective's membership, community membership package. You've jumped on a couple of times, and we've had some amazing conversations. Tell me about some of those conversations we've had, and what's been the impact for you.
Well, look, first of all, I think it's coaching is your superpower, Sue. I do think that this is what you were born to do. I'm sure you do other amazing things, and a multi-talented lady, but just definitely the coaching space. I've been around a lot of coaches, and you have a fantastic way of really listening, but it's not just the normal kind of listening. It is that deeper understanding of the layers. And then the thing that I found fascinating is the questions that you ask that really get me thinking. And it's that contemplative approach that has helped me dig for deeper insight into my leadership style. Because look, obviously I've got a lot of resources at my disposal. Being a John Maxwell coach, like we have, I can't even tell you the number of resources we have, but it's the thing about leadership coaching, it's the application of it to ourselves individually and personally. Leadership is first of all about leading myself and that self-awareness. And I think your environment lends itself to being, first of all, a very safe place, but secondly, it is a place of really, it's been quite beautiful. Like I really felt I learned things about myself by the questions that were asked. And it made me reconsider some of the approaches that I thought were, this is my formula and I'm going down this path. But actually it made me think above the formula. In that, I think because you took it on that higher level. And it does remind me a lot of the John Maxwell style. I don't know if you've read his book. Oh gosh, I've just gone blank. But it's High Road Leadership.
Yes.
I feel like your style of coaching is that high road coaching, in that you think of over and above the problem and look at it from the top down, not in it. And that's a different experience when you're actually trying to analyze a scenario, because I've kind of got a little bit stuck in a few areas with my leadership and didn't quite know how to progress, and got a little bit frustrated and was feeling with the John Maxwell, when he talks about high road leadership, he also talks about middle road, and where it's tit for tat, like, well, I'll do this for you because you do that for me. High road leadership and the style of leader coaching that I believe you embody is looking at from the top down. And I'm trying to think of the specific example, but the one week when we had our meeting, because I was talking about a scenario where you were asking some really great questions, and it opened up this thing where I'd been quite frustrated. And then it was like, it was almost opening up my mind to go, how can I think bigger and beyond? And it was that expansive approach that really got me thinking, oh my gosh, I have more power in this than I realize. It's my strategy that's not working anymore. It's an outdated strategy. Because leadership is one of those things, if you're not constantly growing, you mentioned earlier, about growing and transformation. If you're not constantly growing, you're already behind the 8th ball.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So anyway, I just want to say thank you, because it stretched me, but in a really, what's the word, insightful way, that I could go, I can actually do something about it. It wasn't just a concept. What are some practical next steps that I'm going to take to shift?
Yes.
So I really appreciate that. So the questions are really, really thought-provoking. So I highly recommend, if people haven't jumped into your Tuesday sessions, it's a half hour of gold, because it really is about us as a leader. Think about this. How many times do leaders actually have someone supporting them? They're the ones giving out. And then if you're giving out of an empty tank, well, then, that's not really helpful for yourself, but also for your team and your organization. So I think it's really helpful to have that space that you offer. And it's, I'm sorry I missed it today, but I'll be back. Don't worry. I had meetings.
Oh, that's okay. Sometimes, we get stuck. Well, we just have to do the work that we have to do, don't we? And we don't have time to pull out of that. But that's a really, really good reflection, Jackie. And so those times when you were stuck, if you hadn't jumped on a Tuesday, how long would it have been until you kind of got unstuck from where you were and were able to, I guess, release and get unlocked in your thinking so that you could actually move proactively in that leadership space?
I'm not sure, but I know that I get stuck in my head sometimes and I go round and round in circles. I would say in the past, when I've gotten stuck, it usually takes a couple of weeks.
Yeah, great.
Even a few more weeks. I'm faster at it than I was, but in the past, way back before I did all this self-development, it would have taken me months, if not years. So, not recognizing that, I had more power than I realized. It was, back in the day, I didn't have that growth mindset. But yeah, I think having someone to reflect with and really get some clarity. I think clarity is really key for leaders. When we're in our own space, and I particularly notice when I'm with someone who's really listening and reflecting back to me what I'm saying and helping me really think deeply, I find I'm able to get out of my head, but then suddenly my words are reflecting back to me. Oh my gosh, actually, I'm getting more clarity because I'm a verbal expresser.
Yes. Yeah.
But finding a space is for somebody who's really A, listening, but B, doesn't have an agenda, in that they genuinely want the best for your outcome. It's a gift. It really is a rare gift. So that's what I appreciate most about the sessions, because even listening to your other people on the call, learning from what they're learning and their experience, like, it makes it, I don't know, like you feel supported because there's peers in the same space and you're hearing how they're navigating, and they go, oh, okay, that, maybe I can learn from that too. So it's just very practical. I have noticed a massive shift in my attitude.
Wow, that's fantastic.
I was on a call last night because I'm studying as well. I'm studying a few things, like psychology, counseling. And one of the topics last night was on stress and how do you handle stress. And I just said on the meeting, I just said, I've learned to reframe some things. And one of the triggers of stress is these things that have kept me stuck. And then I find that, it's like a domino effect, right? But finding the root cause of stress and why I'm stressed, then I can kind of reverse engineer and go, I'm not going to make those choices. Yes. Yeah. So reframing beliefs and where areas we're stuck, if we don't address it, the impact of it can be quite significant, in other areas of our lives. So I do feel I'm able to be much more mindful of what's going on and not allowing stress and other pressures to take away my posture.
Yes. Oh, yes. That's so true, isn't it? Just being able to walk in peace through leadership and being able to kind of bring yourself from that space of anxiety back into peace, because we do our best work when we're in peace.
Yes.
Jackie, when you jumped into that first time, what surprised you just about the coaching and the collective?
I think you said it. So you said calm. That you don't rush. You, as I said before, like you have a gift for listening, but it's a different kind of listening. And it's really listening, but thinking beyond the issue. And yeah, it's, as I said, it's like you're coming on top of the problem and coming around it, you're not just in it. It's very difficult to explain the subjective.
It's like the balcony. I often refer you're stepping up on the balcony to get more of a perspective of what's going on, stepping back and up on the balcony rather than sitting in it, because you can't see all the avenues, all the options that you've got if you stay in the problem. You've got to get up on the balcony and step back. Yeah.
And I don't think we can do that by ourselves.
It's a skill to be able to do it with it just by yourself. Yes.
Yeah. So I think you have a rare gift, and I do think people will really benefit from, like I was going to say, take advantage, like grab hold of this opportunity to be in your space, because I do think that you think about this thing, how long does it take us to figure things out and then grow? Like we could be going round and round and round the same issue, wasting time, energy, effort that could be spent elsewhere. And that's why I think having a coach is so important, because we're not getting clarity and we're not making progress. Where are we going to be in 12 months' time, 2 years' time? It's not going to be, yeah. And I think the other thing about leadership coaching is we have to be willing to hear and listen what we need to hear and need to know that we don't know within ourselves, because if we knew it, we would have done it already.
Yeah.
You know, and so I think leadership is a team sport.
Yes.
We really, really need each other and everybody with their different strengths and gifts. So that did really surprise me, is the depth of your wisdom. I also love that you come from a holistic approach using, with prayer and including God. And, we're dealing with the whole person here. And always finish with a beautiful prayer. So I always feel quite uplifted when I've finished. And at that half hour, it goes very quickly, but it's super powerful and effective. So, when you don't have a lot of time, grabbing those opportunities is important. So,
yeah, I do love that, being available once a week for anyone who wants to jump on the call, just because if you have to wait for your monthly one-on-one or another time, often the moment has passed and you're doing that reflective coaching, whereas this way you can actually coach in the moment and help people like yourselves, Jackie, who are not short on understanding leadership or experience of actual leading, but just we all need somebody else to help us at times, don't we?
We 100% do. And the more I go on, the less I realize I know, actually.
Yes, it's a thing, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's the applying of the knowledge, that's the key, and taking it to myself and going, okay, what can I do differently? And I have found a lot of traction, and my attitude has changed as well. And I think people are noticing that.
That's terrific.
It is really, really positive. And I'm very grateful because, having someone in your corner is really, really important.
Yeah. As we wrap up our chat, Jackie, is there anything else that you want to say to those who might be listening today?
I know this might be a cliche, but I think we're better together, and especially leaders. Leaders really, I find that they're often, skinny, if you like, on having the tank full. Like I do believe that's where we definitely need each other. And, research shows that we are better together, but it's that iron sharpens iron. But also as a leader, how are we going to best lead our people if we ourselves are not filling our tank and getting the perspective, fresh perspective, and the support and the clarity so that we can lead effectively and empower our people. So I think it's a fantastic opportunity that is rare, and I encourage people to just check it out and come on and have the support that's already there. I'm very grateful we met, Sue, and I wish I could jump into your sessions more because they really have been fantastic. So be better together. Definitely take advantage of the great support that's there.
Oh, thank you, Jackie. Thank you for the kind words. And it is a pleasure. I do love having you there. And it's amazing just how we can really unpack things together, and the gold just comes out, doesn't it? The gold comes out. So thanks so much, Jackie. And for those who have been tuned in and have been listening, if you want to jump in, you can DM me. You can just jump on. I've got a code there if you want to try a month for free and see if it actually is something that actually helps you. Just DM me and ask me for that link. But, if you want to actually experience some of the things that Jackie has experienced, then please reach out. I would love to chat, and I hope we get to connect one day. Until next time, thanks so much for joining in and listening, and we will see you hopefully sometime soon. Bye for now.